Okay, then good evening, everyone. We are here for the workshop, the seminar related with the BIM4EEB Toolkit. We have already introduced last time, but now we summarize. And the focus will be about the BIM management system, which has been developed by one team under the umbrella of the World European Consortium. Next slide. Okay, as we have seen last time, the result of our research is the development of the BIM-based toolkit. Here we can see the core of the whole toolkit is the BIM management system, but which is used to share data and information among the different tools. So we can see and summarize, we have seen in deep detail last time the tools. So the fast mapping of buildings developed in Sweden, which has the goal to create the first IFC files, so the first BIM model, using laser scanner and specific devices to identify tubes, lines within the walls. Then we have BIM Planner, which has the goal to plan, manage, track all the activities for the renovation. That's developed by VTT in Finland. And coming down on the left, we have a BIM for occupants developed by Suite 5 in Cyprus, which has a double scope. On one side, well, the first is to involve the occupants, the people who's living in the buildings. And here we are speaking about residential buildings, so social housing around Europe. And two scopes. The first is to involve the occupants in the management of the comfort data, so the comfort behaviors, so allowing the people to have a look on the conditions in which each single apartment, each single flat is kept. It means temperature, humidity, but also light, and also indoor quality. We will see later with Davide speaking about the streaming of the sensor data, and also the energy performance of the building that's related with the consumptions and for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And the second scope is about involving the occupants in the management of the works. It means that speaking about the facility manager and the owners who has planning about renovation of the building, the idea is to involve the occupants in order to be sure that there are no problems when managing the works on site. And then before occupants is through the BIM management system is exchanging data with BIM Planner in order to allow the communication between owner and the facility manager and the occupants. On the right, we have other three tools, which are very important in any case for the building renovation activities. BIM Easier, developed by VTT, is a tool to support the decision making at the design stage related with energy efficiency. So that's linking a software for building simulation about energy behavior, and we will see also with Davide some opportunity about exchanging data using IFC. That's the model, interoperable model. Then we have Outeras, and at the same time using the IFC file about the buildings in order to manage the activities related Outeras with building automation and control systems. So that's the focus on Outera. And BIM4EEB finally is about managing the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning of the building, and also focusing on energy performances. So that's a framework. We have already seen last time in detail the other tools. Today we will focus, of course, on BIM management system. And of course, if you go to the next slide, David, we have to make the point. The point is that here we have developed a phase 1 and phase 2. It means that in phase 1, we have defined the requirements, linked data, ontologies as a basis for the development on phase 2, where the whole toolkit have been developed. And now we are in phase 3. So we are testing, validating the toolkit and demonstrating on 3 real buildings related with the 3 different climates. So for South Europe, we have Monza, demo site with Arler, region Lombardy. Then we have in the second one is in Poland, and that's an ancient building, so most related with bit heritage. And the third one is in Finland. There, well, we have to say that in the first building we have building regulation about the envelope, so ATICS, external thermal insulation composite systems, and the windows upgrading, going to double glass windows and improving U values on the windows. While on the Finnish demo site, the focus is about the plants introducing heat pumps, and the focus is about heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Then here we are now. We have a set of workshops as today. The workshop, of course, are involving all the stakeholders. But today you have this opportunity as students and the future engineers and architects to have a look on what are the new items developed at the research level, and in the next months, year, they will be used by you as the first one who will go to the work, knowing about the most recent results and development about BIM. So, Davide, if we go to the next slide. Okay, that's the whole consortium. We have seen, of course, now we are in Italy, and in Italy we have Politecnico, POLIMI. We have one team, and later maybe Davide will say something about one team, of course. Region Lombardy and Arler, we have spoken about. That's related with the demo site. And we have also in Spain, Solintel, who's working on exploitation and standardization of the results. ACE in Belgium, that's the European Consortium of Architects. That's, of course, the whole European network of the architects, and that's very important for dissemination and communication purposes. Then in Ireland, we have UCC ERC, the National Energy Research Center in Cork. They are involved in development of BIM4EEB related with heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Then in the Scandinavian countries, we have Sweden, RISE and CGI. We have already spoken about fast mapping, and in Finland, PTT, Visualink are working on development of BIM Easier, BIM Planner, but also the ontologies, Visualink, and Caverion they are related with the demo site in Compare. Then going down, we have Poland, Prochem, that's a big companies related with design and construction and facility management, and they are involved in the demonstration activities with a focus about the Polish demo site. Then going to the center of Europe, we have TUD, that's the Technical University of Dresden. They have been working mostly on the ontology, linked data, and now they are cooperating in the standardization activity. And finally, we go down in the Mediterranean Sea in Cyprus with Suite 5, we have already spoken about. That's about before occupants and the involvement of the people living in the buildings. Then I think we can go to the next slide, Davide. Then I leave Davide to go on, and I thank you again, Davide, and I leave you to go on introducing the work package number 4 activities. That's work package number 4 is dedicated to the development of the BIM management system. So thank you, Davide, and I leave you the word.
Yes, thank you, Bruno. Thank you for the first presentation. And yeah, basically, as seen before, we have the BIM management system. Is the tool that we'll see this evening. As you see in this slide, basically is the core of the BIM4EEB Toolkit. Is the core not only about functionalities, but just because is a common data environment, basically, with a set of functionalities that allow the designers, the end users, or the technical providers and so on, all the stakeholders provide an interface to share, collect, and gather some data and information about the buildings, information about the sensors that are placed on the buildings, measurements, and any kind of information that is related to the building. The main goal is to manage the information in terms of the whole life cycle of the buildings, and our goal as developers was to create this tool, the entire system, based on a common data environment and some different functionalities that I will show you in this seminar. Basically, we have to deal with different kind of information. As you know, the buildings are not only documents, are not only models, but there are some other data that is maybe hidden inside documents, or because speak about economic, environmental, weather data, GIS data, and so much data is in terms of regulatory data models and so on. The main focus of the platform is to give to every stakeholder a collaborative environment. And our goal was to set a continuous updating, enhancement, and enrichment of the data with some richness of the features. We developed different functionalities. We can speak about basic functionalities and advanced functionalities. Basically, we have functionalities inside to manage the users, manage the projects, ontologies, and the resources. We developed also a BIM viewer about to create an environment to view the IFC models, and these functionalities are created in the last 4 years about the project. What you see now is in this moment is a tool that is born as an open source tool, as the main goal was also to give a tool that could be available not only commercial, but could be available also as an open source. And we start in developing the tool basically from scratch, and we didn't use any commercial already available functionalities. For example, there are no functionalities for manage the resources or users and so on that was already created by commercial, but we started from scratch. And for that, it's important to take a moment to think about what the European projects are looking for the development of the tools. Basically, there is a sort of levels. The TRL is technology readiness levels that start from 1 and go through 9, and basically set which is the maturity of the tool that you are developing. You can develop something that is just an experiment in terms of concept, or can be a proof of concept, or maybe is an experiment that you validated in the lab, or going through to TRL 5 and 6 and 7, you go through a validation in a relevant environment or a demonstration until you reach that prototype. The BIM4EEB project starts from TRL 4 and finish TRL 6. What does it mean? It means that every tool that we developed basically stop in TRL 6, where the technology is demonstrated in a relevant environment. Basically, also the seminar of this evening is a relevant environment, because it's the environment of the academy, of the university, of the next generation of the designers or the stakeholders that will use this kind of software. But is not a tool that could be not almost ready for the market. This means that some functionalities maybe can be further tested or maybe further developed before they reach the market. The market in terms of you can sell this tool for everyone. This is just to put a focus in what we developed that maybe could be very similar to commercial tools that are already in place, but maybe some functionalities are need also to be enhanced before going to market. And another point of discussion is that the tool is totally developed from scratch. We cannot start from any commercial tool and integrate this commercial tool in our solution, but we started from scratch. Basically, the BIM management system is that. We can go in, basically log out. Basically, it's a website, and there's a website available on the web where you can log in. As this is the platform of the project, the platform needs a registration, and you need to create an account. And as a user, you can log in, and this is the main page of the BIM management system. Basically, we have an interface that can change as if you are different roles, if you are an inhabitant or a designer or a owner of a building, the interface, the functionalities change a little. Basically, there are some functionalities available for all the roles and some others that are just for specific roles. Some very specific functionalities are for designers that are different from the end users as inhabitants. This is easy to understand, for example. And as you are for sure already confident with some tools as a common data environment. For example, you for sure you get to know some softwares from Autodesk or Microsoft or Google that manage resources, manage documents, manage BIM models, and so on. And basically, the interface is very similar to these commercial and very almost no functionalities. And as a typical, you can manage your account, and you can, for example, request the inviting to the projects. As a user, you can participate in more than one project. For example, a project is an entity in BIM4EEB, where, for example, a project is the demonstration sites. As we see before, we have three main demonstration sites, one in Italy, one in Poland, one in Finland. There are 3 projects, and all these 3 projects can have one or more buildings to manage it. And basically, the user can change project and manage different projects and buildings and documentation. But it's like an account inside resource management, where you can manage your project in terms of resources. The resources are, for example, the documents, PDF, model, and so on. But you can also manage, for example, the users. You can invite one user. You can set the roles for these users. The roles meaning that you can do some things, you can access to some functionalities, and so on. Yeah, but basically is the environment of the BIM management system. Basically, we started to think about a common data environment. You as a student in the engineering faculty and talking about BIM, for sure you are already involved and already get to know about the BIM standards, and you already know what is a common data environment. It's a place, a digital place where you can exchange data of different kinds, and basically we create a common data environment. We create a common data environment that is in line and with the BIM standards, the 1960-50 ISO standard that speak about the BIM. We create a common data environment that respect this standard. Basically, as a common data environment, the first thing to do is to have a list of resources about your project. This is the main view of the list of the resources, for example, for this project, for the one team demo. As you see there, you can see that there is a list of different category of documents. There are documents, there are logbooks, there are models, and category of documents that can change in typology. For example, we can have documents that are specifications, but we can have also documents that are data sheets or some other kind of classification of the documents. Obviously, we have a title and description. We get to know which is the creator user, when this document was created, which is the revision, which is the status, and some other functionalities here on the right. As you are used to use systems like Box, Dropbox, or Google Drive, or SharePoint, or every kind of a commercial file sharing system, this is nothing new. Basically, you already know that every file sharing system is able to do that, have a title, some classification of documents, and so on. But you have to think that this solution is started from scratch. We completely recreated all the things, create a database, create an interface, create a functionalities to manage these documents, as like the commercial solutions that you already know. And but we get some functionalities that are additional functionalities that you cannot find, for example, in Google Drive or other things like that. And some of these functionalities are related to the BIM, to BIM standards, and about the document management. And we see now how we can work it. Basically, the most important thing is that when you create a document, basically there is a wizard that you can use to create a document, create elements. The first thing is basically to assign a scope, a category, and a typology of the resources. Basically, we are starting to upload something, and when we upload something to the BIM management system, we have to classify the document. The classification could be useful for define, for example, the kind of document, and is useful for searching the document. And here, for example, we can assign a title. We can define this. Is a document. No document is a measurement. Temperature is a description, is a data sheet. Oh no, we can for example upload a document about the sensor data sheet. And this data sheet could be, for example, we can go through this wizard. We can explain later which is the steps that we encounter. Basically, what I want to explain now is that I can classify a document and can finally upload a PDF document, for example, as a data sheet. I can say, okay, this data sheet is a PDF, okay, and we set which kind of resources we are working on, and we set that we are working on ISO 19650 resource. We can also explain later some things that you see there, and then we can create the resources. Basically, these are the steps that the user can do to upload some resources inside the BIM management system. Basically, we are creating a file in our BIM management system. And the final vision is that we have a summary of what we have done. Basically, is an element that has a title, a description. We see there the document, and we have also an history. History very, very short, because we just create the document, and we are able now to see the document resource list. Yes, we can filter with the creation date, with the most recent is Z-Wave datasheet. It's a document of the datasheets and created by me. Yeah, is there. Basically, what document specification, yeah, perfect, is there. What is the main functionalities of the BIM management system? Basically, we have to just come back a little in our presentation, because we need to explain some things. Basically, one of the most important things is to use to set basically in an environment, in a common data environment, that implement the ISO 19650, that basically works with the states. There are 4 main states: the work in progress states, the shared states, published states, and the archive states. I think that you already know these things. Maybe someone you can chat something and say something on that. You already know this kind of working way about the documents. You already know something like that. Okay, perfect. Basically, when you work in BIM, ISO 906050 standard, when you work in BIM, basically you have to work with this standard. Is a building information modeling ISO 19650. That is a standard that is published almost few years ago, and is an international standard for managing information about the whole life cycle of a building asset using the building information modeling, using the BIM. And is a standard published in parts, and these parts explain how to work with documents, basically, how to work with your BIM model, how to work with your data sheets, and so on. And this standard have inside a place where basically explain how the documents during the from the beginning, from the creation, and when you share your document with other people, what you have to do, and which is the state of the document during the time. And now we go to explain that. Basically, the work in progress state is the first, is a state of the document where you are working on the document. It's a work in progress because you are working on the document. Let's think about a document that could be a Word document about a report or a data sheet, or also a BIM model. BIM model could be a document that is in a work in progress. Work in progress meaning that you are working on, and is a state where the document is not ready for be shared with anyone. But when the document could be ready, for example, you need the feedback from your colleague or need feedback from any other entity, you maybe shared your document, your BIM model, your report with anyone. And when you share something, the document changes the state. The state go to shared state. And shared state is a state where you can get to know, you can find which are the documents that are shared with others, and the other people can use your document and, for example, give you a feedback or maybe make some edits, some change in the documents. And basically, the document go back and forth from work in progress state and shared state from these two. And until the document, until the BIM model or any other document get ready to be shared with a client. Before to be shared with a client, normally the document need to be approved. Could be a formal approval, or maybe just an approval just to say, yeah, the document is okay for shared to the client. And when the document go to the client, basically go in the published state. When you publish something, basically is a document that is going after your office, is going over your office. You publish something that is going out, and you share with someone that is external of your organization. It's like when you write a report and you publish this report and you send this report to your professor. It's basically something that is going from a work in progress state. Maybe you shared your document with your colleague to get feedback, and when it's ready, you send to the professor, and it's something like you publish something. And basically is like you assign a state to a document. And when your document is have a state, you can recognize. You can recognize in time. You can recognize inside the file sharing application. And basically, this kind of working happens very, very, very fast in the development of the documentation, in the development of a big model, and need to be traced, need to be historically traced, and need also to trace the revisions of the document. Every time you put a line in a Word file and you change something, basically you are revisioning your Word, you are revisioning your report, your BIM model, and so on. And it's also important to take trace about the changes in your document. First, we have a state, okay, that basically is something that assigned to the document some sort of a permission to see, permission to publish and share something with anyone. Is a permission basically. And then another important thing is about the versioning of the file. Basically, is a number that change over time. Is a number that every time change is a +1. For example, is a revision 1, revision 2, revision 3, and so on. And you have a revisioning system when you are in work in progress, because basically what you have done yesterday is a revision, and today you a line in your word is a second revision, and so on. But basically it's also a revision when you share your document with other users. And you see there in this slide that we can think about there are two users, user A and user B, that are working, for example, in a BIM model. Okay, but the same thing could be done for an Excel file, a Word file, or a PowerPoint, for example. And a user A is working on his BIM model, make changes until he wants to share with someone. And when the BIM model is shared, there's some other user that can pick this BIM model and make changes also. And making changes, they do some revision, and then we share another time. And this loop is a feedback loop basically. And you change something, revision are adding, and they are sharing something with someone. If you have used Dropbox or Box or Google Drive, for example, you might be in a situation where some files that are used by one user, if you edit contemporary the file, this file is a copying conflict. There's a conflict of copies, because there are two copies for the same file. And there is a functionalities that lock the file, lock the document, the resources, that avoid the possibility to working on the same file in the same time to lost some versioning. And this why you see there that is a lock icon that need that if I working on a file and I want to do some edits, I can lock the file, and then we share another one, lock another one in the file, and then go out. These functionalities to lock the file to avoid any contemporary editing on the same file is called sometimes as a check-in and check-out functionality. Basically, a check-in and check-out is a functionality that works as a look for a document. If when you are finished to edit the document, basically you can share the document and you can check in the document. When you check in the document is available for anyone. When you check out the document, is a time that you pick the document that is shared with someone, but you lock the document for editing for anyone more than you. You can just, you are only a user that can make changes on the document because the file is checked out and you are the only owner for the file. Basically, it's similar when you are in an airport that you can go in back and forth for check-in and check-out. Yeah. This is the functionalities that we implement in the BIM management system, and we see there. For example, as a, oh, I lost my, yes, we are there. Basically, as you see, I have now some documents here that are with a document status that are resource check-in. Basically, these documents are a checking in, and if I want to edit something about that, I have to check out the document before. For example, here I can click on the lock icon, I can, okay, check out the document. And when the document is checked out, change icon, yeah, as the lock is open. And then now I can, you see there's a functionality that I can edit the resource. What does mean edit the resource? I can edit, for example, the informations about the resources. Now I have to, yeah, for example, I can change the description. I can add some description there, or maybe I can also add some functionalities. For example, one of the things that we see there is the possibility to add, for example, the possibilities. Yeah, oh, it's going a little slow. Okay, maybe I have to log in another time inside my application. Yeah, I go there. Basically, when I was talking on the slides, we talk it so much, and I go a little later, and there is a functionalities in the BIM management system that if you are not working almost for 10 minutes, the system get out, and you need to log in another time just to assume that you are really you that are using the system. I try to go and log in with another username. Yeah, basically, I will create now just an example of two people that are working together. Okay, I saved this document, for example, save name. I go in the desktop, for example, document. Okay, I call it document example. Okay, now as a user A, Madi2D, I want to create a new resources. Okay, is a BIM4EEB scope is a document and is a specification, something that is a report. As you see there, that some types of a category and typology. These kind of selections can be further expanded. If I want, I can create more categories and more typologies. These are just the default and standard category typology, but are just for a demo, are working. Basically, it's a classification system for the resources. I call it that is a document for demo, document for demonstration. Okay, in seminar. Okay, next. This part about values is a part that now is disabled. Is disabled just for demo reasons. But basically, as we can add some information about title and description of the document, we can also add some values, as for example, tag. We can add some tags to recognize the resources inside the pool of the documents. I can add some linked data. What is the linked data? Linked data is a very particular term. Maybe needs just a lesson about just only the linked data. How to explain very fast what is the linked data. Linked data is first of all, is one of the main topics of the BIM4EEB projects. Basically, all the data in a context of the linked data is think like a description of the items. Linked data is a way to describe some items and assign to these items some descriptions, some descriptors. The linked data is very important in this point of the research about the documents, because helps developers and helps the user to find something very fast. The linked data, as the term suggests, is linking the data together. Basically, there are some things that helps to link data that are completely different in terms of topics. You can, for example, link animals with people and places, and basically our topics completely different. But you can link together just to say that a dog is a property of some user that live in some places. With the linked data, you can create some nets, some linking with these three items, and now we can just to say that the linked data can help this linking. And in terms of BIM systems, in terms of engineering systems, file systems, and so on, the linked data can help to link resources with BIM items, with specifications, with the entire ecosystems of the information can be linked fast and well using linked data. In this particular case, when you upload something, a document, a Word document, for example, we can set the linked data for this document. We can say that this document can use some ontology, and we can set that this document is a data set, for example, and if available, we can also define also that this is a document of another ontology, and we set the topic of this ontology that is a document about demonstration. Yeah, and we set also this topic. Basically, we are setting some linked data to these resources. We can also define what we call as a Geolink Data, that basically is a place these resources in a map. We can leave now empty, and we can just assign after about the linked data. We can speak after what is. And if we want, we can also define a link of this document with an IFC model, for example. We can set that this document is related to this window, for example. Okay. And finally, we can upload the document. Document example, docs. We can set next, and we can say that this document is subject to 1960-50 standard. As we said before, we say that we are working on in a work in progress state, and we set that the work in progress, and we can also check in the document directly. The BIM4EEB responds that the resource is created. Now, as a user, as a first user that created the resources, basically, an important thing is that when the resource is a work in progress status, as a work in progress, basically is not allowed to other users to see by default this document. We need basically to set in the resource list, we need to set, for example, the permissions. Then, yeah, is the creation date. We set the document for demo is the last document that was uploaded. Yeah, this is the timing. And now we can use, for example, this icon to set the permissions to the users. And we can say that, for example, if I go there and log in as a BIM professional, yeah, For example, another user, I can put side by side the two things. No? If I go in one team demo that is the same demo that is there, the same project, if I go in the resource management, resource list, as expected, the last document created is the Z-Wave datasheet, but you cannot see any other document. Okay, I cannot see the document created by Made2D. Okay, to do that, as explained, we set that document demo, set here BIMS professional, add user, and we set, for example, okay, this could be also in L1 there, and I can define the permissions. Now, as we have added these users here, we can upload now the resource list. And as you see, also the other user being professional see the document for demo. Basically, we create some permission for in the resource, and now the other user can change the resources. But to change something, as we said before, we need to check in the resource. Excuse me, to check out. And when the resource is checked out, I can edit. And now, for example, I see there that is compiling the scope, category, and typology. Basically, is attending the response from the server. You see that the category documents, typology specification is the resource I've created. And if I go to linked data, not to linked data, to Geolink Data, today the server is a little is not very fast. Okay, Geolink Data. I cannot see anything now. The server is not working very well, but basically the Geolink Data allow you to set the location. Okay, perfect. I have the map. I can say that these resources could be placed here in Pavia, for example, in this place. Can set the location, can set next, and if I want, I can also add another document. Okay, but I don't want. I can also check in. Basically, I created another versioning of the file that as shared with the first user. Now I can see the history. The history set what the users have done. For example, here this registered that Made2D had the user permission of the resources, and there is an increment of the revision, the check-in and check-out. This part is most important to check what is done with the resources, and it's basically in a contract. It's most important to think to see which are the changes about the resource. And finally we have the resource list there. As you see, is the changing of the revision. This visualization is set up for just show the last version, but we can see all the versioning of the file. As you see, there is a P0101, P0102, that is 2 versioning. And now finally we can set also that the document can pass in change of status, because maybe it could be ready to be shared with someone. I can set that is ready to be shared. And basically we are doing this step. We are doing the step to porting from work in progress state to a shared state. Yeah. And when I do this step, I can also choose to start an approval workflow. The approval workflow, for example, could be useful to ask to someone to check the file, to check the resource, and give the approbation about the checking. And as you see now, there the resource is in work in progress, is waiting to go to shared. But before to go to shared, we need the approval from another user. And basically, what we can do with the approval is this thing is it's an approval workflow where you can set the people that could be notified about the changing, and the people can approve or reject. If the resource is approved, could be go in shared. If rejected, can stay in work in progress. Don't move it. And basically, now I received an email. Yeah, not now, but we just wait some minutes, some seconds, that the Outlook retrieve the emails, and then I receive, yeah, just wait a couple seconds, and basically will be notified about this request. I can also see already in my, yeah, is there. This is the email that the system sent to me that, hey user, you have to approve the change of state from a work in progress to shared of this kind of resources in this project. And the comments is check this resource. And basically if I go in my system, is there, and I can refresh the resource list. Okay, refreshing the resource list, I see there the document for demo, yeah, is what are the things that are changed. I can see the resource, and finally there is an icon there that can permit to approve or not the resource. This, for example, yeah, what is the history, what is the Geolink Data, I can ask the POLIMI allocation. Yeah, now we are just yeah, the POLIMI allocation, which is the changing over there. And if I want, I can set there that okay, these resources is approved. Yeah, basically it seems very difficult, seems a bit of difficulties, but it's not like that. It's more easy as it seems. Basically, is a workflow that so much time could be used, most often could be used in working with the documents, working with the BIM models. When you are working on a BIM model, for example, you need to adjust some things, upload the new model, and ask for approvals for a new people, and so on. Basically, as document is approved, now as you see there, the document is passed in L1 shared. Is there, and change the color as is the color that you see there. Basically, is changed in shared. Yeah, this is one of the most important functionalities of the BIM management system, that basically you can ask for approval, you can ask for revision, check the revisions, the status, check in and check out the resources, and so on. Basically, is a bit of functionalities more of the standard file sharing applications. If you try to do that in Google Drive or some others most common file sharing application that are not developed for that, you have to install some plugins to do that. But this is the main topic of the BIM management system: manage the resources in a way like that. Another important thing, we can change the topic, and we can go, for example, to see another important topic are, for example, the BIM models. Obviously, you can see the BIM models are a type of resource, is a category of the resource. Another important thing that as you have here some entries, the part that you see here in the header in the top is are used, for example, to filter and to search things. For example, if I want to try to find BIM models, I can check here to write down, give me only the models, and here the search for text. I can search, for example, give me all the resources created by the 2D, or for example, all the things that are called report, or all things where are the terms BIM, for example. Here the search for all things that are inside this table, and is most useful when you have thousands or hundreds of documents to see there all the things. Obviously, you can also check other things, like just select the file and download the file, for example, and other small things. But as we said, BIM models are a first resource, but in particular we have a special view for the BIM models, where you see there in a way like before, but you see just the BIM models there. The BIM models, you can download the IFC model. The BIM models can be converted in linked data. We have seen before the linked data, but there is some ontologies that can be used to transform a IFC model in a linked data model to be used in terms of linked data. We cannot go deeper in linked data, but just to say that it is in place this functionality. And obviously you can see the BIM models. There's a BIM viewer that accepts the IFC models, and you can select the elements of the IFC model. You can see the hierarchy of the IFC. You see there is a project, all the levels, the stories of the IFC, and all the items. You can select the items, and the viewer can zoom it inside, okay, for example, and zoom it inside, and you can see the properties of the BIM model. You can see all the properties there, and you can go back and forth of the hierarchy of the IFC, just clicking on the items, for example, and you see there that I can change everything, going up and down with the things. Okay, for example, I can select this wall and see that this wall is a basic wall, brick on the block. I can see the materials of this wall, and that, for example, is a masonry of brick as a concrete block, stud layers, air layers, and so on. It's a very powerful properties viewer there, and also a hierarchy. In terms of functionalities about viewing, you can, for example, hide the items. Okay, you can hide items. If I don't want to see all the furnitures, I can hide type, or cannot see any window. Okay, for example, go step back. Okay, and also another important thing that Yeah, if I can hide all these things. Another important thing that I can see the spaces. The spaces are most important because the space, as you know, maybe you are used the rooms inside the model, Revit rooms to define, for example, that this is a bathroom or this is, for example, a living room. As you see there, you see all the properties about the room. Yeah, this is, for example, a bedroom with its name is an IFC space with some data attached to it. Obviously, all the data you see there is the data that is exported in BIM authoring tool, for example, Revit, ArchiCAD, or everyone. You can see the IFC in terms of hierarchy of the model, but you can see also the hierarchy in terms of zones, because as you know, the zones are most important thing in the IFC management or in building management, because you can group, for example, the rooms, the spaces in to specific reasons. For example, I can group the bathrooms together, or I can create one big zone that take place all the spaces together. The zones are important for the project. For the BIM4EEB project, we are use the zones not only to define which is the use of this zone, for example, a bathroom or a living room or any space with a specific use, but also we use the space and zones to define what we called a linked data system, to define, for example, here I go, for example, for this IFC space, and if I click linked data, I will see that when the server responds something, I will see that there are specific tabs of the properties where I will see all the attached data. For example, in this IFC space, there are some data that are linked data. I can click on there. I can see directly the linked data, and that involved the graph databases, for example. Yeah, this is the same thing that we see before, but in terms of linked data, there are all the definitions. This is called all the data that is attached to it. And almost important is also to see if there is some data in terms of sensors, in terms of measurements, for example. And if I see now there, no, there is no. Okay, just a moment, just to see. I didn't remember where I put the sensors. Yeah, data streaming. No. No, it's not there. For example, okay, link data there. Yeah, basically, I maybe can see, I can show you another model, model where there are sensors. Okay, I close Firefox. We restart Firefox to see the other models. Yeah, basically, what I want to say is that with IFC spaces, IFC rooms, I can set in BIM models. I can set, for example, yeah, I think over there is something. Yeah. Or maybe if you cannot see anything, we can just import. Okay, maybe better. Okay, no problem. we can say that if I have some zones and groups, I can use that zones and groups to import some sensors. I can, for example, import sensors, data set. We go there with the Revit. For example, you can have a sensor that measure the temperature, okay? And you can have some temperature there, okay? And you can want to show this temperature inside the model or attach this temperature to the model. You can do that. You can do that using, for example, sensors, okay? Here we can set the sensors for these rooms. And yeah, for example, the room B184. Come back to the model. What is the model? Model is that. Is yeah, B. We try another time to see it. Okay, nothing. I cannot see, give you this opportunity. Maybe in bathrooms, no. In my zone, no. Yeah, I can do, for example, that. If I set, for example, here in zona, my zone 07, for example, I can set that my zone 07. Okay, is a copy. Okay, can save these sensors, and in the system is more easy to update data streaming, import sensors, and I can choose, for example, a CSV file with all the data of the sensors. Open, import. We have 4 records imported, and then I can import the measurements, where is the code of the sensor, and for example, I can import the temperature, and we can also import not only the, yeah, we can just adjust the temperature. And if I go in the model over there, in BIM models, and go to the zones, I expect to be there in my zone 7. Yeah, we have the sensors with all the temperature, the sun pressure, the humidity, carbon dioxide, and temperature. Basically, as you see there, that you can have a bunch of data that is already available as an export from your hub. You can import all the measurements and attach the measurements to a zone. But in BIM4EEB project, we use and we monitor all the apartments of the buildings, basically not uploading the CSV data, but directly reading the APIs of the sensors and attaching and linking the measurement of the sensors directly to the system. And you can see some of the zones that maybe could be collected or thinking like an apartment. We have some zones as we have the apartments, and inside every zone we have the space that are living space, bathrooms, bedrooms of the apartment, and right-click on the linked data system, you can see all the data about the sensors. And for example, we can see also the number of occupants, if there are some plans or surveys or any kind of data connected and linked with this space is completely visualized. The last thing that I want to show you is another important thing that is connected to the linked data, and is, for example, the Geolink Data. This is another interesting thing. As you see before, we set, for example, the Pavia location. If I click on the location, I can see all the data that is coming from this location. Basically, what is important about this functionality? These functionalities allow you to see not only the data that basically could be coming from the sensor, coming from the temperatures. No, for example, this is the weather, about the temperature in Milan, the data pressure, and any kind related to the weather. Okay, that is in this precise location where it is a sensor about the weather. But every time you find this place like that, you can click on it, and when you click on it, you can create automatically a query in a database that is totally external of the BIM4EEB, of the BIM management system. Basically, the data that you see there about the maps, about these points, colored points, are data retrieved from another server. The data is coming from Wikipedia. There is a Wikipedia server that is called Wikidata, with the Wikidata query service, that basically you can ask to Wikipedia to give some information about the things that are around a point, that are around a precise latitude and longitude. There is some sort of information available. You can ask anything. In this case, the query that is a query for retrieve data from a server, basically. The query that is set by default in BIM management system is to retrieve all the buildings, all the types of the buildings that are around a point, around a precise location. Let's you imagine, for example, to retrieve all the kind of buildings that are around your building, or maybe if you located some resources in a point in a map, you can create a link and a query about what is the most important things that are around this point. This could be used for different things. This could be used, for example, for design to retrieve and, for example, show, give me all the universities, or give me all the palace, or if there's something like church, or give me some information about this place. This is an important thing that maybe could be related to social or environmental, some sort of analysis about the place you are involved. Okay, for example, for your project, it's important which are the public activities and or for example the distance from your building and hospitals and so on. And another important thing that as you are querying Wikipedia, you, for example, can click on the points and Wikipedia answer to you and give you the information about these points. Yeah, we have, for example, an hospital. This hospital is a Politecnico of Pavia, and give there all the information that is available, and you can expand your knowledge about the place, going, for example, directly with the website with the specific location. And this could be used just to give all the elements around the point, but also another important thing is to ask to Wikidata to give all the places in terms of cities that are located near your point. This could be also, for example, a query that could be used to see which are the near train stations, bus stations, or the important places, important cities near the point. This could be, for example, used for LCA, for life cycle assessment, for any kind of assessment for environment and so on. This is so much important thing that you are asking something not to your server. Basically, this data is not stored inside the BIM management system, but is stored outside. But with the linked data, you can ask this kind of information, retrieve more information from another server. And this is one of the important things about the project, about the BIM4EEB project, is to create the data, sharing the data, but also connect the data that you create, not only inside the system, inside the project, but also outside. And retrieve information outside could be important to enhance and enrich also the data for your project. And yeah, these are the most important things. We see some functionalities connected to the linked data. There are some other specific functionalities, as for example, Sparkwell endpoint. There's a system to retrieve data, but it is so much advanced and complicated system that we cannot show now. And yeah, finally, another important thing is that all these things are can be connected with the external sources, and all the system is available for using with the APIs. Any software can use the data stored in BIM management system. Last example for this seminar, and I will go to conclude my presentation, is that you can use the data stored in the BIM management system, for example, the BIM models. You can use this data inside authoring tools like Revit. And for example, you can connect using Dynamo, you can connect your Revit application and retrieve data that is stored in BIM management system using the APIs. This is just an example of how to use the integration of the BIM management systems data to other tools, other application. Obviously, all the toolkit that works in the BIM4EEB works like that, works using the APIs that ask data to the BIM management system and put and collect data from the BIM management system. As we see before, you can log in as a user inside Dynamo, and you choose, for example, the project is a one team demo. Okay, you can run the script, and then you can select the file. You can ask to the BIM management system which are the files that are stored in the one team project. Basically, are the IFC files, and we go to choose. As we see before, we have in the BIM models list, there's this model, demo building IFC, that is available for my user. And I look here, yeah, demo building IFC, and then number 15. And I select the file 15, run the script. Basically, we select the file. And now when the file is selected, I can go to the script that, as this name, the name says is a getFC file. GetFC files basically allow the user to get the IFC file, basically download the IFC file, and as the file is downloaded, could be linked directly in Revit. as you see there on the left part, on the bottom, there is the download of the file and creation and conversion of the IFC elements in the Revit elements. Is 3% done, but it's more fast in the second part. And then we are able now in a couple of seconds to see the IFC file. And another important thing that as we have the file, basically is a linked file. It's not a file created in Revit. You can work with it. And this is the same file as before, but you are directly downloaded and connected as a link in Revit. And you can select the items as a all IFC file. And if I go on the plans, in the floor plans, I can select the system, and yeah, I use that for make boundaries. And for example, as you see there, a typical example is to see that I didn't have in this moment any room inside the file, but I can create directly the rooms, the Revit rooms, directly asking the BIM management system the rooms. And to do that, I will create that. There's a script that creates Revit rooms from IFC link. And if I run the script, yeah, I retrieve all the rooms, and then, as you see, if I pass with the mouse, you see the rooms. But we need just a schema, color schema, to be assigned to the system, and to bring. Okay, and this is the schema. And then here is the room list, and these are all the rooms. And finally, the last thing is that we can also create the things. And this is my last thing. And yeah, this is the last example of what we can do with the BIM management system. There are lot of other functionalities that, but we need some more things to do that. Okay, if you want, we can answer to questions. There are some questions.
Okay. Davide, thank you in any case, Davide, for the exhaustive presentation. Very important, very relevant from the point of view of the whole BIM management system. And of course, we have an opportunity. Now I speak to the students of the course. That's a very unique opportunity you have to speak with Davide, who has been the development head, I think, in the team, and he knows everything about BIM management system, and how it's functioning. I have to say that in the past with David and one team, we have worked first in Ovance, and then in BIMREL we have spoken about where in BIMREL we have one team have developed the BIM platform for construction products. And well, if you have some question, please ask, write on the chat. If not, of course, I thank you, and I thank David for the helpful presentation. And well, I stop, close the workshop, and thank you. In any case, you will have the opportunity to send me some emails or in the chat during the next sessions related with this workshop. So thank you.
Thank you, you all. And yes, have a good evening, and see you next time.
Thank you, Davide. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.